What makes a good film? Good direction? Good acting? Good music? Good writing? Yes, obviously, but a factor I believe is very important to making a film is replay value. Replay value clearly plays into the four other factors I mentioned, but if we are to look at replay value alone, I think it's really important to make sure a film has it so the film can have longevity. All the iconic films aren't considered classics because everyone saw them once and went home. They're considered classics because loads of people saw them several times and they were able to hold up on repeat viewings, cementing them as consequential films in the history of cinema. A film is typically never as good as when you initially watch it, as the magic is gone. But you need to make sure it doesn't go from great on a first watch to dull on the second. A director that I believe does this excellently is Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele found his footing by doing sketch comedy alongside fellow comedian Keegan-Michael Key, and while their sketches certainly do have a lot of replayability to them due to how hilarious the majority of them are
you talking to me?
Oh,
Are you talking to me?
Robert De Niro!
Yeah. All right, this person pretend to be straight, but he's really gay.
Me!
No. Oh,
He's a, Latin pop star.
I'm not a Latin pop star.
No, you're not.
I'm not talking about those though. After a few years of sketch comedy, Peele decided he wanted to explore some new avenues. The avenue he drove down was horror thriller filmmaking. His first feature, Get Out, is one of my favourite horror films of all time for reasons I will not get into now because I just adore it so much that I will end up rambling about it endlessly. His second feature, Us, is a film that definitely isn't as polished as his debut, but I still consider it to be one of my favourites of 2019. Both his films have great replay value, and when making Us, Peele actually set out to make a film that had to be viewed twice. Now, before I delve into how Jordan Peele is able to make his films so replayable, I need to warn you that there are massive spoilers for both films ahead, and when I say you should click off this video and watch them before watching this, I mean you should click off the video and watch them before watching this. So, if you haven't seen those films, maybe do, cause they're good? No, like, seriously, actually go and see them. When you first watch Get Out, you're like, oh shit, these parents are very clearly racist, and it creates a very awkward atmosphere that gets more and more uncomfortable to the point that it dissolves into one of a creepy nature. During all of this, you think that Rose is a good guy, and genuinely loves Chris and is sorry that he has to go through this shit. And then she turns out to be arguably the worst character in the film. This is obviously the plot twist to the film, and is the main reason the film has so much replay value. Jordan Peele wrote this film so excellently as on the second watch you realise there are double entendres throughout. For example, when Rose stands up for Chris, you think she's being a decent human being and defending him, but then you realise, no, she was just covering her tracks, so Chris can't be tracked here when he goes missing. Or how Rose's grandfather was an Olympic runner, which is why Walter did so much running. Due to the wonderful writing, Allison Williams ends up giving a spectacular performance due to how layered and complex her character is, and I think she deserves more credit for her performance in the film. So, to surmise, Get Out has such great replay value due to the underlying messages that won't be noticed on the first watch. Honestly, the second time I watched this film, anytime Williams was on screen, I just stared at her to analyze her performance, and it's so interesting to watch it second time around as so many things just click into place. Okay, this is going to be hard to talk about as I think I'm in the minority here. Us makes for a very entertaining first watch. Not only is it terrifying, but it has some genuinely great comedic bits that also hold up on repeat viewings. But one of the reasons why you apparently need to watch it on 2 occasions is due to the amazing Lupita Nyong'o. In the film, her character comes into contact with the tethered version of herself at a young age, and has seemingly been trying to escape that trauma ever since then, now that she's an adult. Then, at the end, it's shoved in our faces that Adelaide is actually red. I picked up on this the moment she bashed the Invisible Woman's face in as she acted animalistic, and therefore I gathered that she was actually the tethered version. But for anyone who didn't catch that on the first watch, the second watch is made even more interesting as you get to analyze Nyong'o's performance. Which, like, can I say, I know Oscars and award shows in general are meaningless, but how the actual fuck did she not get an Oscar nomination for her performance in this film? Back on track, due to the plot twist, a rewatch is made a lot more fascinating as a lot of things seem to fall in line as there are many nuances in Nyong'o's performance. Yes. Okay, this video ended up being a lot shorter than it was in my head. To conclude, one of the best ways to give a film replay value is to throw in a plot twist, as it makes multiple viewings more lively as you get to notice intricate seams within the film, whether it be dialogue or the way a character reacts to something. Obviously, the plot twist of the two films aren't the only reason the films have such high replay value. There are many Easter eggs and foreshadowing in Get Out, such as when Rose says,
"You know, I don't want to get chased off the lawn with a shotgun."
You're not going to.
And that actually ends up happening, as well as a lot of metaphors and symbolic imagery in Us that may not stick out to a lot of viewers until repeat viewings. This is something that I feel Edgar Wright and Ari Aster do wonderfully in their films. They are so meticulously well crafted that there are dozens of hints and nods, as well as references that to most viewers will not stick out until following rewatches. But this video isn't about those incredibly talented individuals, it's about this lovely individual. Jordan Peele clearly cares so much about his work, and he's really superb at making these types of films, and by going back and watching some of his sketches, which I recommend you do, a lot of them have made me burst out in laughter, you can recognise that Peele has always had a love for the types of films that he is now making, which is why he did the Us press junket dressed up like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Yo, for real, I know humor is subjective in that, but some Key and Peele sketches are actually just really good. Jordan Peele is one of those people where it's just like, okay, you're great at that. You're great at this too? And this is what the fuck? How are you this talented? I'm just really excited to see what Peele has in store for us next.